either a works team or a privateer team. It's always been like that, but never more so than this year. 2004, as away we go, and straight away Kian Harry to the left of your screen got a great start, as did, yes, Reynolds, I think, slotted in there. In second place it was John Reynolds, followed by Yukio Kageyama. In third place indeed, so Michael Rudder didn't quite make the start, but it was Ryuichi Kianara, Kyo to his mates is right there. Well,
it was interesting you mentioned the Honda starting there, the two factory Hondas there of Rutter and Kianara, no problems. Craig Coxell in the background was jumping up and down with his clutch.
Indeed, so obviously the factory clutches are working, what your conclusion may be there, a little bit better than the production ones at this particular point in
Where's
time.
Rutter gone? Lost Rutter.
Where is Michael Rutter? Indeed. There's Emmett. Oh, and through comes Yukio Kageyama. That man is still injured. He reckons he's only riding to 80% of what he can at this moment in time. If that's 80%, it's going to be a little bit superb, isn't it? Through goes Kianari.
Still can't see Rutter.
Well, I wonder if Rutter, I'm told that he may have been moving forward a little bit at the
Glenn
start.
Richards pushing Dean Thomas there. A touch, there was contact there.
You were looking at that and I was looking at the pass.
Oh,
through he goes, Dean Thomas and Glenn Richards. Two Aussies having a right old battle as it goes at the moment.
Easy filling in the Kawasaki sandwich there now.
Yeah, and the Kawasaki's really do want to make some move, and I'm trying to look back and see where Michael Rudder has got to. We're at the chicane for the first game, the Woodcock chicane. Kianari's coming through. There is Emmett on bike number 5, keeping
there
looking.
He
there he is. Oh, dear me.
A
long way back. Yeah, I don't know quite what happened. He obviously got mired at the start. It didn't look like he made quite the launch that he would have liked to have made. Obviously got mired in turn 1 here at Cops on lap 1. Lap 2, I'm looking to see if anybody's picked up any penalties. They have not. A 1 minute 30.6 start. No jump starts, I'm told. No jump starts at all. It's just come up on my monitor here. So whether Rutter was creeping, it obviously wasn't enough to cause a penalty there.
Yeah,
look at this.
Run off, unless maybe clutch slip problems. Maybe he's got too much clutch.
Well, we're going to find out as far as this race continues, because he had clutch slip at the start. He'll have it badly in the next couple of laps or two. The horsepower these things are chucking out. Kianari then leads this race on the HMM plant, the new Fireblade, absolutely proving its worth at the moment. Kyo out front. What a star into the British Superbike Championship season this is. Emmett there in third place. Yukio with his leg dragging to the right there. Why was that, Neil?
I'm not quite sure. It looked almost like he's putting his leg out to say he was in trouble.
Kianari's in trouble.
Priory. Reynolds is through.
Big time is Reynolds through. That is just a shot in the arm that JR needed. John Reynolds then out front. Don't expect him to need someone to tow him around, because he knows his way around this track.
In trouble. Kageyama looks like he's got mechanical trouble.
Leg out still, so Kageyama, keep an eye on the next blue bike, 71 coming through. Oh, he's lost it big time, so he's definitely out of this. There he is, Kageyama out of the race. That'll be a bitter disappointment. Not often, I have to say, that we see Dennings motorcycles fail in some way, that is for certain.
I obviously don't.
Oh, that's a biggie. Don't like that at all.
That's Marty Nutt there on the right.
Well, Marty Nutt.
Paul Jones, one of 56.
Well, we have to look down through the programme to see who 56 is. And that is James Buckingham on the Key Garage Suzuki. So James Buckingham out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pace car come out very soon.
I mean, I hope it is a mechanical and not an injury. Or
Paul Denning there moves in first.
Yuki looks okay. Machine trouble.
John Reynolds leads then at the moment. Kianari in second place. Now, if we get a course car come out, of course they'll have to get up behind the pace car. Wait and see. It's not on my monitor yet. John Reynolds 1:27.6 was his fastest lap on lap 2. Looks like they are going to move them out of the way. Let's take a look at what happened in this particular incident, if we can.
Where is this?
But that is a hugely fast area. That actually it wasn't that fast, but they certainly got tangled up. Buckingham down, Marty Nutt down, and Buckingham getting wheeled off there at the moment. But no, that's at Bridge Corner. That is pretty quick coming into Bridge, I've got to say.
There's no safety car.
No, there's none at all. So no safety car at all. This is a race that continues without the interference of a safety car. It's quite a long lap as far as time is concerned. That gave them enough time to medically treat those guys and make sure it was safe to move them off the racetrack. Marshalling here, second to none. You see how tight Kianari can get out there?
He's been watching really Kageyama. That's Kageyama line out there.
Gets it sat on the fat part and squirted, doesn't he?
JR said he was struggling out there in practice. He had to remap the engine because he was getting too much power, too much torque, too much wheel spin, chewing the rear tyre up.
Well, it's Dunlop versus Michelin again. Rizzler Suzuki on the Dunlops versus this new HM Plant Fireblade Honda on the Michelin.
Now Rutter seems to, he was in 9th in that first lap. He's up to 6 already, so obviously no mechanical problems there.
Well, we were talking about whether Michelin have got their job sorted out for the British Championship here. I can tell you, I was speaking with Adrian Gorse, who was with the Aprilia MotoGP team last year with Colin Edwards, and they actually tested. They had 250 different rear tyres tested throughout their year, and that was with Aprilia. So Michelin really were, that's construction, size, shape, compound. 250 rear tyres were tested with the Aprilia MotoGP team, and these are GP tyres that are fitted on these motorcycles.
And they still couldn't stop that Aprilia wheel spring, far too much power.
They had a lot of power and they needed a bit of mapping to sort out with that, of course, but looking a bit good here.
It's more mid-race towards the end that the tyres will kick, and we'll see who's got the endurance and still has the grip.
I just don't feel that Michelin will have come here with the kind of support they have without having a truckload of the right stuff. They've only got to look after 2 motorcycles, so it's not a case of they don't have enough tyres to go round. This is the man we've got to watch, though. If anyone's going to be burning up the tyre, it will be Michael Rutter, of course, because Rutter, I don't know what the reason was, but Michael Rutter on the last lap was way down the order in what, 5th or 6th place, I think, but he carved his way through a good few places to get to that. So Michael Rutter with some kind of a problem in that early lap, but now clear track in front of him, 127.272 on lap 4. I think you can see Rutter regaining his composure and building, because that's what he's going to have to do. Get it smooth. He's got Glenn Richards in his sights now. He's dispensed with Scott Smart already on the other Hawk Kawasaki.
Well, if he can maintain this pace, he can get all the way to the front. He's half a second a lap faster than Reynolds at the moment, and he is 5.2 seconds down on him, so there'll be no problem getting to the front if he can do half a second a lap.
How do you see this race panning out at the moment with John out the front and Keogh in second place with Emmett in third? I mean, how do you see it building now that they're out on slick tyres?
Well, John Reynolds will be giving it 100%. He knows how quick Rio is, he knows how good his package is, so he just has to keep his head down, try and get some sort of gap, or hope Rio makes some sort of mistake. But he'll also know, he'll be given information, he'll know that Rutter's coming through, so he just needs to keep the hammer down and just do everything he can to stay out in front. But Rio's right on his rear wheel there.
Well, I can tell you that John Reynolds, he won't know about it, but Yukio Kakayama, an unknown engine problem, which again, for Paul Denning's, very unusual for the Suzuki squad. So
the beauty of this situation for Rio is he has got the least experience here at this racetrack, but he can follow JR. He's quite comfortable following JR, and he can just learn, gain experience, get comfortable on the bike, just see what JR's doing, and he is comfortable because he's looking back there.
I was slightly shocked as well in qualifying that it was the Honda that was the fastest through the speed trap at 155 miles an hour, just a nudge quicker than the GSXR 1000, and I didn't expect that, I must say, not straight away.
Well, the GSXR is certainly the benchmark. It's been the fastest 4-cylinder over the last few years. I know in testing in Spain earlier in the year, I was out doing a bit of testing with them, and Michael was pretty keen to see how fast the Suzuki was along the back straight.
Sean Emmett still in third place, of course, on bike number 5, and this is the battle going on behind him as Glenn Richards gets it all squirrely as he tries to pull it down into the braking area because he's under the severest of pressure there from Michael Rutter. Now Rutter, oh, you just look at that Honda wind up now. That hook's so good.
It's just on rails. It's just a complete package, and Michael's such a smooth rider, makes it look even better.
And Glenn Richards through the swervery bits. Look at the way that Michael Rutter,
he's turning it tighter. He's turning it tighter. He's looking more relaxed.
Oh,
he's not
look at that!
hard.
Look at that! Absolutely superb. Turned it tight over the top of him. Just drops in behind him. You have to do that because the right-hander is a long right-hander.
You also need the tyres and the grip to do that.
And
doesn't matter how good the bike is.
Yeah, but the bike, it just doesn't need to eat up the settings either. You know that with the Suzuki, the bike was good, but it used to eat tyres, didn't it? It couldn't last the full distance. The package has to be bang on dead right. If the bike uses up the tyres too much. Michael Rutter at Cops.
And Glenn Richard went down at Cops on Friday, so
he clinches every time he goes. It doesn't seem to have made it a lot of difference, no. Michael Rutter still with the fastest lap. A couple of laps ago, 127.202 was his time. Rutter, though, he's not being held, I won't say held up by Glenn Richards, but certainly taking a little too long to go by him, really.
You would think he could do faster laps if he was in front. He's now 4 seconds behind Reynolds.
Yeah, and that's going to take some beating, despite the fact that we're
Here we go. Look at the speed there. Look at the mid-range power.
It really does have. It fuels so well, this motorcycle, and he manages to pull it down nice and tight into the turn as well. It's a great all-round motorcycle already.
You have to remember the difference there between Rutter's Honda. It is a hand-built bike from Japan, whereas Glenn Richards still is the key, and it's virtually out of the crate.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Kawasaki right at the beginning of their development of the ZX-10. I think they've done wonders in the short time that they've had the motorcycle anyway. So, Reynolds under pressure from Kianari. Well, maybe not yet. The thing that has impressed me about Ryoichi Kianari is his maturity at his age. We saw the way that he coped with the slippery conditions in race 1 today. Just steadied himself up in those conditions. He really is a bit of a mature package considering the young head on his shoulders.
He's just like, he's part of the machinery in that team. He just goes out there, he does lap after lap. Doesn't matter the conditions, he just does exactly what he's told, and he's out there just to do whatever it takes. Very, very hard worker.
Still John Reynolds though, out front. Wife Shelley here.
Puff of smoke from that Suzuki.
It was as well, and the last time we saw that was last year and it went pop. I do remember seeing that last year, and I kept my mouth shut because I thought maybe I missaw it. And last year, if you remember, I can't remember what round it was in, it did actually go pop when there was a puff of smoke last year.
Saying that, through that Maggots-Beckett section there, JR took a bit of time out. Kianari's faster through that right.
It couldn't have been rubbing. No, I was thinking maybe it was a bit tight.
No, it was shifting gear. It was shifting from 56 up to the Maggots section.
Oh, I'll keep an eye on that, but it might just have been clearing a little bit of surplus oil. For want of something better to say at this point. Through that quick, that's a lovely right-hander Priory. I love that corner coming down to this left.
Bridge into Priory.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a superb section.
This is where Rutter's Honda has a lot of grip. It turns really tight, turns really quick. You can see Kianari doing the same and pulling back on JR.
Just to reiterate, are you surprised that Honda have managed to make this bike so good, so very quick?
Not at all. I'm sure, as I said earlier, there's lots of testing being going on in Japan. Honda waited a long time to launch a new Firebird. It is a cracking road bike. It is a clinical road bike. It is just so good in every area.
Where is he?
And they knew they were going to go racing, and they knew they possibly were going to go World Superbike racing. That hasn't happened because of the Pirelli tyre roll, so they've come to BSB with the bike they thought they would take to World Superbike.
Well, bearing in mind that our comments earlier on in commentary in race 1, of course, that Neil, I'm surprised to get you to jump off the fence quite as willingly as that, so it must be about right in your mind that this championship overall is shaping up. In fact, you did say it was the best Superbike championship in the world now.
Well, it is the best supported with the manufacturers and the factory teams. Every factory from Japan has an interest in this championship, unlike World Superbike. But you can't help thinking if World Superbike turns around, if the tyre road turns around, Honda will be ready to go.
Yeah, there's a bit of visor clearance there by the look of it from John Reynolds. That's an unusual place to have been doing that right in the middle of the turn.
I guess, yeah, fast straight's probably the place to do it. But JR was having problems with his visor in the morning warm-up, misting up, so hopefully they've got that cured.
Well, you would hope so. It's a much better day. It's not quite as bright, I have to tell you, when I look out the commentary position window as it is on our cameras. And remember, television cameras do make things look like a little brighter. It is still quite dull and still quite damp in the ambient. It feels quite damp out there.
There was blue sky, but that's disappeared now. Rutter's on the charge now. He's got past Emmett. He's got past Richards, and he can see.
And he is 3 seconds.
Oh no, Glenn Richards down.
Yeah, big time. And that fire, that will please Paul Kawasaki not. Stuart Hicken will be keeping an eye on that from our monitors, that's for sure.
Oh dear, poor Glenn.
So Glenn Richards out of this race. That's the third one he's had that I've actually been keeping count of this weekend. So giving it his all, Glenn Richards. Meanwhile, back at the front. Now then, let's have a look at these times. Reynolds and Kianari, just a couple of tenths in it between them. Rutter was 3.2 seconds behind the rear end of Kianari at the end of last lap. Let's take a look at Glenn Richards then as he went out of this race on the Hawk Kawasaki. Neil.
Yeah, you can see first Rutter, then Emmett, and Glenn Richards comes into sight. Obviously got crossed up real early on. Scott Smart was closing in as well. Maybe just got Rutter coming past, lost a bit of time and trying hard to get back in touch with Emmett and Rutter.
Looked like a big old over the high side to me for Glenn Richards, but he was on his feet and okay. This is an enthralling battle that we've got developing here between the GSXR 1000 Suzuki, and that is the Rizzler Suzuki Performance Centre. Rizzler Suzuki, I should say, the Suzuki Performance Centre down at Verwood in Dorset. Everyone's watching it on big monitors down there. Can John Reynolds give him a race win right now? Kianari has been learning every single inch of this racetrack, and he's got the master in front of him to follow. You can see him going over a bit of cement dust there. That's Paul Denning, of course, owner of Crescent Suzuki down at Verwood. And
we saw the gap there, 3.2 seconds between Chianari and Rutter, so we'll just keep our eye on it this time over the start-finish straight.
As they come to the line, it's half a second. There's Simon Buckmaster.
And Les Pearson there on the left, that's Yuki's mechanic from last year, top engineer.
And Tadayuki Okada, former 500cc Grand Prix winner, to the right, head of HRC Racing, sandwiching Simon Buckmaster, former racer himself. Honda have got the heavyweights here.
2.7 is the gap now between Chianari and Rutter.
2.2 I seem to have on my monitor. Maybe that's and that would have been exactly the same as it was last time.
2.2.
Okay, you can see.
Just.
Mind you, 2.2 is a little bit of difference with 2.7.
Reynolds, the gap there between Reynolds and Chianari is 2
extended,
depending on which part of the track you're on. Through the infield Priory Luffield complex.
I think JR is applying the pressure. I mean, John Reynolds can win a race from the front. He doesn't need any help. Chianari would really prefer to probably follow for a few laps around here at the moment and maybe pick him off at the end. But JR is not a man you pick off at the end of a race.
Yeah, Chianari would preferably follow a bit closer than he is now. He's losing ground. It should be easy for him to get top 10 behind JR. Meanwhile, Rutter's closing on his teammate.
Just over half distance though, Neil. Still a long way to go in this race just yet. And that question mark over the Michelin tyres. Will they have brought the right one that will suit the Honda, suit Silverstone, suit the weather?
Spinning up coming out of there. That's not good.
Yeah, big time.
Mind you, he didn't lose any time.
No, but he did. I remember last year that thing was absolutely like that out of that dead stop chicane. It really did lay down great darkies. Reynolds, Chianari, Rutter, top 3 at the moment. Emmett is still in 4th place. Scott Smart up to 5th. Dean Thomas is in 6th place. Stuart Easton is closing in 7th place. Gary Mason, the first of the Yamahas, in 8th place, with the slightly injured Steve Plater in 9th place at the moment. Then the best of the Superbike Cup boys is Sam Cork once again. He was the best man as far as race 1 was concerned, but then was thwarted by tyre problems, of course, as Marty Nutt came through to claim that the honour of 25 points. Still we are with John Reynolds, just over half distance. He leads from Chianari, from Rutter in 3rd place. The recovering Michael Rugger is worth saying, 2.7 seconds behind Chianari. It's 1.9 now at this point. I've got 1.9. It was 2.2. It slipped down to 2.7 from the leader, but 1.9 from Chianari. That's probably where the difference was between you and I think, Neil. I was looking at the difference up to Chianari. You were looking at the race lead time differential.
Well, the distance now between Reynolds and Chianari is 0.8, so let's check over the start-finish line, see if we can extend that to a second.
Well, there's no man that would be pleased to do that more than John Reynolds. And which hat are you wearing
possibly
here in the
Paul Denning.
Yeah, possibly Paul Denning, and maybe Neil Mackenzie as well. We might have to reconsider a rider of the day. You did have a man in provisional pole position for that, but I feel a change coming on here.
So many.
Well, I mean, I have to say this man in our screen at the moment, having come to the track for the first time, the series for the first time, riding the bike in the British Championship for the first time.
Chianari actually pulled some time back there, a couple of tenths. 0.5 now.
0.524 it is, 1.77. Rutter is closing in on Chianari. So despite the fact that Chianari is closing in on Reynolds, Rutter is closing in on Chianari. So this is going to be, and we've got still enough time actually for this to happen, you know, Neil. For Rutter to close in.
We certainly have.
You've got those beady little eyes on this monitor at the moment. There's a tactic going through Neil Mackenzie's thoughts at this moment in time.
Just again thinking about the tyres, it looks pretty evenly matched at the moment. I'm hoping that's the way it's going to stay. I'd hate Michelin to come along with some super grippy, super endurance tyre that's going to blitz everyone, but it actually looks like a pretty level playing field.
So John Reynolds then. Really, he has such a tremendous fan base here at trackside. Chianari's fan base is only just building up. And of course, John Reynolds' teammate Yukio Kagayama, he's another one that has a huge fan base. And you can see a lot of them around the track. Something like 28,000 people is the head count here for the opening round. And in the morning, when you woke up this morning and looked out the window and thought, shall I take a ride to Silverstone or not? You'd really have to be a British Superbike supporter to want to do it. It was cold, it was miserable, and it was raining. Almost country ride, but 28,000 odd people have turned up at trackside to watch and to see whether Chianari, the newcomer on the new Honda, can get to grips with, well, the reigning hotshots of Monster Mob and Rizla Suzuki. And certainly the answer after race 1 was yes. And now it's just a question of whether Reynolds can stop Honda from absolutely walking away at the beginning of this championship season.
When you think about it, Chianari last year, he replaced Kato in the Camel Honda team. Sorry, the teammate to Seti Gibber now in Grazini's team last year. He was riding a 250 brake horsepower MotoGP bike. Now he's come back 50 brake horsepower to a 200 brake horsepower Superbike. Must be quite nice in some ways.
Indeed. Kianari carrying the number of Kato on his helmet as well as a tribute to the Japanese rider. We know that Yukio Kakayama, he too rode with a tribute to Kato all through last year, and well, the Japanese, it was a great loss to the world of motorsport generally, but
yeah, Telefonica Movistar team. So
to the Japanese, it was a huge loss, and many of the boys dedicating their race wins and their race performances to Kato. Meanwhile, still out front, Rizla Suzuki. Biting nails time, Mackenzie. I can see it from here.
It really is. Michael Rutter is...
Especially for him.
Michael Rutter, the last lap, was almost half a second faster than JR at the front there, so like you said, there's still time.
I've got to tell you, Kianari closed in on JR as they came across the start and finish line, and Rutter closed in on Kianari, so just a second between Rutter now and Kianari, just half a second between Kianari and Reynolds. Those are the difference. This is enthralling. We are only on lap 15 of the 22, and I have to say, Michael Rutter, well, another rider of the day contender, considering his opening. I don't actually envy you on this one, Neil, and you ain't getting any help from me.
Certainly impressive in conditions in race 1, dominated race 1. Something happened in lap 1 of race 2, but he's fought back already in 3rd place.
Look where he is as well. I mean, like once he gets to the shoulder, it's job done. I mean, that's... he doesn't need much encouragement, does he, Michael Rutter? You know, last year...
Such a turnaround from last year, actually, because so many times last year made good starts and for one reason or another struggled on the Renegade Red Bull Ducati going backwards mid-race, but this year he's turned that around.
Well, certainly he took a win here in the second race last year, so he quite likes it here. And then he started off Snetterton, which was round 2 last year, with a win, and then dumped it in the dirt on the next time out. So Michael Rutter needs to... Oh, he was a bit hot through there by the look of that, but hasn't lost any time. It might have been a camera angle and me being a bit over-enthusiastic, but certainly Rutter is almost there, as is Kianari, almost on John Reynolds. I mean, I'd hate to read John Reynolds' pit board at the moment, because it is just nightmare proportions. They will have to give him the information. They can't be too kind to JR. They've got to give him what's actually happening behind them, and he just wouldn't want to look round, would he, at the minute?
I wouldn't like to drive home with John Reynolds tonight if he doesn't win this one.
Well, luckily we haven't. It's poor Shelley that's got to, and Jack possibly as well. So Reynolds, Kianari, Rutter, Emmett, Smart. That's your top 5 at the moment. They've all gone past our line. They are way in front of the followers of Dean Thomas, Stuart Easton, Gary Mason, and Kieran Clark now, the best of the R6 Cup boys that moved up from last year into Superbike. He's in 9th place. Steve Plater's dropped to 10th. That's your top 10. Lap 16 of 22. JR has an advantage, not much of one, from Ryuichi Kianari, the new Japanese sensation that's joined the British Superbike Series. But he's being hounded down by race 1 winner Michael Rutter, who for some reason on the opening lap, and we really do not know why until we speak to him afterwards, if he finishes on the podium, you will hear, of course, from Jonathan Green regarding that. We will hear exactly from the horse's mouth, so to speak, exactly what the mistake was on lap 1 that gave him something like 6 or 7 places to make up at the end of this race. There it is, there's the distance. Back marker right where you don't want one, in amongst the complex. JR might just be... No, he doesn't know he's there. That is really... Yeah, that's a problem. Wave them blue flags, he's saying. Well, it's thwarted his progress a little bit, but I've got to say that's the big fella from Swansea as the 2 Hondas get tripped up as well. And Rutter takes the advantage. Rutter sneaks through, really. Well, if you left your money on the bar, don't expect it to be there when you get back, because Rutter would pick it up and pocket it. And he just did there at the chicane. Wow, Kianari. Well, if you think a teammate is going to help you, it's only going to be in qualifying, Keo, that's for sure. Rutter goes through. John Reynolds was angry, John Reynolds, 38 years old, but he still wants to win this like anything. And really, a little bit unhappy with Paul Jones, the man on bike 28 from the Travel City Direct Suzuki. He's a back marker, maybe, but it was a difficult place where he caught him. JR took the time to wave. I always think that's a bit uncool and very unusual for JR to be annoyed. But it might have been the slap in the face JR actually needed to sharpen his game up, because
he's so fired up, so focused. The lap before this, Rutter just set the fastest lap, 126.890. That is one fast lap.
126.1 was done by Michael Rutter in qualifying on a qualifying tyre. And you've got to say, this late on in the race, to be able to settle 26.8.
He's got some traction.
He's got some traction. And especially considering he's had to work that bike perhaps a little bit harder. He's grabbing great handfuls of power underneath people that he's had to try and make a pass on earlier. He hasn't been able to ride perhaps quite as smoothly. So I think it gives us an indication that Michelin are on the game as much as Honda are. And that whole package is working very well.
You can see John Reynolds getting out of shape now as he tries to wind on the power on the Rizla Suzuki. Coming out there, first gear,
sitting down,
gear,
making the suspension work like mad. I think the worst thing that can happen to JR here is not actually being passed. There's John really losing his cool over Paul Jones being in his way. I don't know whether he was waving to the marshals.
It's the marshals, yeah, because obviously Paul Jones can't see him. Well, just upset with the marshal.
Yeah, maybe the marshals were waving the blue flag. Again, we'll wait for a bit of a verdict on that later. I mean, the marshalling, I have to say, generally as a standard, is the best in the world, like this series is. So I can't imagine the marshals being so slow with the blue flag, but maybe it was in a position where Paul Jones couldn't see it very clearly.
Very difficult. I mean, it's virtually enough room for one bike round there, far less any passing.
Well, JR, I think what I was coming to just before we saw that replay was the fact that JR, the worst thing that can happen to him is not being beaten here. The worst thing that can happen is falling down in a fight with these two Hondas at this moment. Really, they've got to go back to the factory at Suzuki, look at where they can make the improvements, speak with somebody like you, of course, with the experience of how to put it back together again, and just settle down for round two. He cannot afford to be down the road in this race.
It's very unlikely JR will go down the road. He's trying really hard. He's trying hard not to spin up that rear tyre, but you can't help but open the throttle if you're a rider. When you open that throttle, you go faster, but it's so difficult because the more he spins up like that, the harder it is on the tyre, the less grip he's got. Michael Rutter is just absolutely on rails.
Rutter will see that, and he will know it's just a matter of time, despite the fact he's ridden brilliantly. He knows JR is just going to slip back into his grasp, and it's really a case of Michael Rutter keeping it all perfectly smooth. That's if, of course, you discount the fact that JR is like a rabid terrier at the moment and will certainly have a real go back if he can at Michael Rutter if Rutter puts the pass on him. I seem to remember John Reynolds getting tangled up several times with Chris Walker in the days of gone past, and the two of them really, I wouldn't have put that past Chris Walker at the time, but I would have put it past JR until I saw it with my very own eyes.
Oh yes, well I think Chris Walker got tangled up with everyone at some time or another in his British Superbike career. It's really frustrating for JR here. He's not a sideways rider. He doesn't like to spin up the rear or rear wheel steer the bike because he knows that that's costing him time.
Still keeping it online though, JR, and that's a mark of his maturity. He knows that you can't go rushing in, you can't make big mistakes. Obviously, like you said earlier, he's got to squeeze the power on as early as he can, and he is doing that. But he's not running wide in the turns. He's not getting himself he's not making amateur mistakes, basically. Is he?
Not at all. That would only cost him more time, but he is keeping it smooth. And Rutter's run wide.
Chianari goes through into second place. Wow.
We need a shot of Top Benning now. You'll be smiling.
Unbelievable. Michael Rutter is the man that cracks first. It's the first man to blink that finishes in second place here. Simon Buckmaster, Taddy Okada, they can't ride the bike for him. Michael Rutter now. Wow, he had done all the work. He had done superb work and finds himself now dropping back to third place. John Reynolds is off the hook on lap 19.
I'm not sure what happened there.
No, neither am I.
Almost one just looked like on the brakes. The rear end was light, but just didn't make the corner.
Almost looked to me like the slipper clutch mucked up in some way. It looked like the rear end was just bouncing a little bit as he changed down through the gearbox.
Well, Michael Rutter's just been inch perfect the whole race. So unusual.
Well, we'll wait and see whether that's compounded throughout, because really, if there was a problem with that motorcycle, it's going to show. Otherwise, it was just down to Michael being a little bit loose into the turn and taking the width of the track to scrub all the speed off before he could tip it in. There is Paul Denning. He's recovered from his excitement of JR actually grabbing a little bit more of a lead. 1.9 seconds was JR's lead over Chianari when they came over the racetrack finishing line a moment ago. So really, this is JR's day. Despite the fact him having a slightly frustrating first outing, this session he's led the most of it, of course, and JR really could have been let off the hook there. That is assuming, of course, Michael Rutter was able to put the pass on JR, because I suppose the question we can now ask is, maybe Michael Rutter was closer to the edge than I'd actually given him credit for.
Well, he certainly wasn't out of shape, and he was making steady progress closing in on JR, but of course, getting close is one thing and passing is another. He probably would have had to do it on the brakes, and as you said, JR was stopping that bike and still hitting the spot, still getting it turned, so it might have been a difficult pass to execute.
Wow, it's a whole new ball game all of a sudden in the last and closing stages of this this race at the moment. We're on lap 20 of 22. Reynolds is over the line now. 1.7 seconds is his lead over Ryoichi Kiyanari, the newcomer to the series. Rutter has slipped 3/10 further behind Kiyanari. Emmett is still in 4th place at the moment, not the start he thought he would have. He was very confident at the beginning of this season, and you've got to say Sean Emmett in 4th place, not what he thought he would be fighting for. Scott Smart is a superb 5th on the ZX10, the Hawk Kawasaki. Then it's Dean Thomas on the Sendo Ducati. Enzo De Clementi is back with the Enza team. Sendo is the name of the company that are looking after it. That's in 6th place. Good result for Dean Thomas. Stuart Easton has moved up to 7th place. Gary Mason and Steve Plater still 8th and 9th. And Sam Cork, still the best of the privateers on the Superbike. Rutter stuffing it under his teammate. I tell you what, he cannot afford to do that. The Honda hierarchy are here keeping an eye on things, and if there's a mistake that takes the pair of them out, I can't imagine what we're going to see on the faces of the Japanese.
No,
let alone on the faces of Michael Rutter, of course, because that'll be it.
The laps are counted down and he doesn't have much time. There's a back marker looming there as well, but didn't get past Kiyanari, so it's not quite sure where he can make that move. Here we go, down the inside, almost
well, the gap was there. Wasn't
back
it?
off.
The gap was there, but
Darby hairpin there, really difficult turning in there on the brakes.
I think he's definitely going to try and take this 2nd spot, isn't he, Michael Rutter? He's determined to get the 20 points rather than the 16, that's for sure. But on 25 at the moment is John Reynolds. He has ridden a superb race, despite the fact he's shown us all emotions so far, and I think we're going to see another set of emotions from JR when we get him on the podium, because he's been aggressive, he's been angry, he's been frustrated in this race. It really is a full range of emotions from the Suzuki man at the moment.
Well, we would have Rutter and JR on equal points if they finished in this position.
Funny that, last year, if I remember rightly, what happened here last year?
Here we go, down the back straight. This is where he tried to pass Kiyanari in the last lap. Not quite close enough to make that pass this time.
I was just about to say it was Shane Byrne and Michael Rutter who shared race winning options last year, but it was actually Byrne who finished 2nd and Rutter back in 4th place.
And this is the last lap coming up to Bridge. Not many opportunities now, he's not quite close enough.
Through Bridge, Priory next up then through the left-hander. Well, we see Michael Rutter, who's a bit of a favourite of this chicane. He gets through there fairly quickly, but he's in no way close enough to Kiyanari. I think pretty much he's decided that to try and show his front wheel up the inside of Kiyanari at the chicane may just be a bit too much for the Honda hierarchy to bear on their opening day here. But really, hats off to John Reynolds. He responded when he needed to respond. That bike has not been possibly the best that we've seen out there on the racetrack today. I think the Honda just about had the edge as far as setup was concerned. But John Reynolds is the winner of round 2 here at Silverstone. Ryoichi Kiyanari makes it 2 second places for him. I'm sure he's going to go one better. It's just a question of when. Michael Rutter then, slight mistake from him today, both on the opening lap. We'll hear more about that in a moment with Jonathan Green. And of course he made a mistake in the closing stages as well to finish 3rd. Sean Emmett only 4th today. Scott Smart, well, what a great day for Scott Smart. Are we glad to see him right up there on the brand new ZX10. Dean Thomas in 6th place, Stuart Easton in 7th, and Gary Mason, the best of the Yamahas, in 8th place. Steve Plater, his teammate, in 9th. Tommy Hill, their teammate, in 10th place. Tommy Hill, of course, up from the R6 Cup last year. John Kirkham, Craig Coxall, the young Australian Superbike champion, finishing in 12th place on the Honda with Pirellis, so that's an interesting one. Dennis Hobbs there. I should mention that John Kirkham was the best of the privateers, the Superbike Cup there in 11th place. He wins the Superbike Cup honours in that one. Dennis Hobbs, Dean Ellison, James Ellison and Malcolm Ashley round out the top 16. Michael Rutter and John Reynolds. Neil McKenzie is a star when it comes to... he's a bit Carol Balderman, really, isn't he? 41 then each, Rutter and Reynolds. Kiyanari in 3rd place on 40. Look at that, just 1 point separating the top 3. Well, with no further ado, let's go down to pit lane, because